Hello everybody. Hope you're having a good week so far. Jillian here, and I'm going to do somewhat of a continuation of yesterday. I talked about the keto diet, if you haven't seen that video from yesterday, and I'm going to do a little continuation about what if you have a family? What if you have a family and you like the idea of this keto diet, you like the idea of maybe things I said. There's actually a really good video put out by Z-Dog MD. If you don't follow him, he's a medical doctor that actually does a lot of social media stuff. He has a page, and he coincidentally did a video either yesterday or the day before on the keto diet and his thoughts, and it's really good. But one thing that he brought up that I didn't bring up was, what if you have a family? Because he has a family, and he found it to be personally really, really difficult because especially if you've got kids, you've got a spouse, or maybe you're just a human being and you have a life and you want to eat with people. It was really, really difficult for him to eat out, just eat with other people, and he got frustrated. He did it for 8 months and got really frustrated. Hey Lane, thanks for coming on. Hey Megan. So what would you do? So it's, first thing is realize that with any diet that you try to do, it's going to be challenging because you are going to change your way of eating. If you're used to stopping at a drive-thru on the way to work, you have to modify it, because most of the time changing your diet is going to require you to, especially if it's something for the better, it's probably going to require you to do more grocery shopping, more planning, more eating at home, less eating out, because most of the restaurants just are more processed food, more chemicals, and you're not going to get you're just not going to get the results that you're looking for. And one thing that he mentioned that was really, really, I think, important to remember is that any diets that are good and sound and have good results are based on just eating real food. And whether it's the keto or not, it's just real food. And the diet that he eventually morphed to was the Mediterranean diet. And the Mediterranean diet is really, it's been around really since I became a dietitian. And that's the diet that has really stood the test of time, at least for the past 15 years, if not longer. But that's just as long as I've been a dietitian. So that's as long as I can tell you that diet has always been one of the most highly researched, positively researched, with positive results diet in existence that doesn't seem to be questionable. Now, one thing that I know that gets people scared, though, is it's not low carb. It is actually, if I looked up the breakdown, if you're following a traditional diet, Mediterranean diet, in the sense of what it actually is, it's 50% carbohydrates, 15% protein, and 35% fat, because it's still it's still focusing on a higher fat diet. And the first thing about that diet was that it really did kind of debunk the whole thought that we need to cut our calories, we need to reduce calories, and that eating a lot of fat makes you fat or causes heart disease, because we know that the Mediterranean diet blows all that out of the water. Now, the other thing about it is that 50% carbs is high. It is pretty high. But if you look at the breakdown, it's mostly fruits, vegetables, and nuts that are the carbs. And when we think of carbs from a U.S. standpoint, we're usually thinking of, okay, so we've got our chips and we've got our white pasta and our white breads and our white rice, and that's where our carbs are coming from. And we're not eating as much fruits and vegetables. Now, on a Mediterranean style, they're eating 7 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables. 7 to 10. They don't have a lot of room for the bread, starchy carbs. And then they're also getting some carbs from the nuts that they're eating, from maybe some dairy products, but they're not eating a lot of dairy either. So they're really not eating a lot of starches. Now, the other thing to keep in mind too is a Mediterranean style way of eating is also, the reason it's only 15% protein is because they do a lot of meatless meals. So they will have a lot of beans for their meals, and then, maybe some eggs, which isn't technically, vegetarian, but it is meatless. And so they'll do a lot of that kind of stuff, and maybe they'll eat some tofu and maybe kind of the flexitarian style, so to speak. But the key with a Mediterranean style is more so the types of foods you're eating, not the breakdown. So if you wanted to really focus on healthy fats, more avocado, more nuts, more olive oil, those types of fats, and really up them in your diet and up fruits and vegetables, and you wanted to back down on your carbs, maybe do 35 to 40% carbs, or maybe a little less, and up your protein to 25 to 30%, you could do that and still call it a Mediterranean diet. So the Mediterranean diet is not so much the breakdown. Like a keto diet is you really have to do the breakdown to do a keto diet, because that's what it's all contingent on. But the Mediterranean diet is more focused on what types of food are you eating. Are you having what types of fat, and is it real food? And the grains you're eating have to be whole grain. So we're talking brown rice, wild rice. When you're eating whole grain bread, it's really whole grain. It's not just brown white bread. It's not refined at all. There's no room for that. The Mediterranean diet is whole, real food in the truest sense, no processed food at all. And if you're really doing that, I don't think it's going to matter as much how high your carbs are. But you could even if you're doing a keto diet, it's better to do the Mediterranean style of keto and have more healthy fats anyways. Nobody's going to argue with that you should be eating, if you're going to eat 70% fats, you should be eating the right kinds. So a Mediterranean, though, I think for a lot of people is more realistic, because your family is probably going to be more attuned and acceptant of eating more fruits and vegetables than more butter and more fats. It's just going to be easier for the whole family to follow. And plus, if you have kids, you might not, you don't want them to be in ketosis all the time. It doesn't make sense. And we know that Mediterranean is safe for the whole family. And the thing that I love about Mediterranean is that one of their bullet points of it is that it's eating. The focus is you eat with other people. You eat family and friends. Think about all the times that we eat by ourselves. I'll admit it. I ate in this office today at a computer alone, ate my sandwich really fast and moved on. And if you are following a Mediterranean diet, that's something that you have to be intentional about, because eating food on a Mediterranean diet is also solely about for the enjoyment of it. You eat real food and you enjoy it. So you're eating it for the sake of enjoying good food. A lot of times we eat food and we don't really enjoy it. We inhale it, we eat it in 5 seconds, we move on, we forget about it. I know this because I ask people every day what they ate. And most of them can't tell me. They cannot remember what they had 24 hours before, because we just eat it. It's not a big part of our life, but yet we're still obese and overweight, even though we have no idea what we're eating and we're not really enjoying it. And the Mediterranean diet forces you to do that. And they can have wine. So if you like wine, that's the diet for you. But it's really about the enjoyment. It's about the enjoyment of eating, being healthy, and choosing the right foods and the types of foods. So you absolutely can follow a Mediterranean diet, but not eat such high carbs if that makes you uncomfortable. Or maybe if you have diabetes, you probably wouldn't want to do 50% carbs. But it is definitely a good option if the keto diet is a little intense for you or kind of scares you. So yes, Lane, we need to chew our food. Not be like my dog. My dog, he's getting better now, but when we first got him, he wouldn't chew his food and he would throw it up. So he was starved for a good 6 weeks. When I adopted him, he would eat like it was the only meal he was ever going to get, and he would swallow it whole, and then 30 minutes to an hour later, he would just throw it up. And eventually he caught on that he was going to get fed again, and he would start chewing it. So moral of the story is, you're not a dog, and we don't need to inhale it, but it's life. We're in a rush all the time. We're in a hurry, and we're just going to the next thing. But if you take your time, you'll realize that you don't need as much, and you can enjoy it more. and you're enjoying more and you're enjoying less a bit more. So there you go. Let me know what you think, and if you have questions, want to know more about it, we are starting a 30-day challenge on Friday, and that's the Mediterranean diet is actually the one that we are focusing more on. So reach out to me. I answer my messages, all of my messages, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.